right, thank you for being here today as we open the new and improved Tujunga Spreading Grounds to the public. Big round of applause. Thank you guys for being here. For many of us who grew up here in the Valley, this project is close to our hearts because historically, communities like ours haven't been prioritized when it comes to infrastructure decisions that are made, whether it be at the federal, state, or local level. In the past years, plans to expand the Tujunga Spreading Grounds would not have been prioritized with the needs of this community in mind. We know that because we haven't seen it, we've seen this time and time again. When I chaired the city's Energy, Climate Change, and Environmental Justice Committee, we were working on Measure W. And I made it very, very clear to everyone. We could not and would not move forward on this measure if it did not focus on the communities of the East San Fernando Valley. So the fact that we were able to improve an important city facility and give the community a brand new recreation area is really incredible. Projects like these are our city's future, building in a way that battles climate change and prioritizes environmental justice in our community. While improving the health and well-being of our surrounding community is a priority, this is what LA looks like tomorrow and in the future. It's a major step in the right direction, especially for the San Fernando Valley. For thousands of years, rainwater comes down through the mountains, through the Tujunga and Pacoima washes, through the soils of the San Fernando Valley and into the aquifer. The makeup of the soil here in the East Valley is different from the soil on the West Valley, which makes this area particularly special for storing water. That's why the East San Fernando Valley has always played a major role in providing water for those folks who live here. But as a resident of Sun Valley, who actually lives right across the street, we see the water on both as a blessing and as a burden. We are proud to provide water for the rest of the city, but for a very long time, the infrastructure wasn't built in this area to withstand the amount of water that the valley receives. And when storm comes in, year after year, when it used to rain on a regular basis, much of the water would wash out to the sea, or it would actually float into our communities and our neighborhoods. As LA continues to grow and our access to fresh water is at risk, it is clear that we have to improve our existing system. I don't think our city leaders saw the drought coming in 1930 when they originally built the washes that sent all of our rainwater out to the sea. But I'm glad to say that we're starting to improve our water conservation methods, and we're starting it right here in the community of Sun Valley. Yes, thank you. Before the updates to the grounds, there were 20 small basins here that could store about 100 acre-foot of water. Today, there are going to be 9 large, deeper basins that will be able to store 790 acre-feet of water. Now, these grounds have the potential to provide enough water to serve 64,000 households annually. And as California's severe drought persists, the Valley's spreading grounds will continue to be crucial to our efforts to preserve and capture as much water as possible. But I want to stress that not just is this important for this community, but I want to express how important it is and how we got here. This community now has 2 miles of walking trails and outdoor classrooms that can be used by the public, either in this community or people who want to come visit Sun Valley. There'll be enough parking for folks and picnic tables so families can make a day of visiting these spreading grounds and learn about a local ecosystem and our city's conservation efforts. And community members can actually put their efforts and bring their kids here and make a day of it and teach them about how important it is to conserve water. But I want to take this moment to thank the Sun Valley residents, in particular, the Sun Valley Neighborhood Council. I know some of you are here. Can you please stand? Because your efforts to support this project was incredibly important for me, for my office, and for DWP. Without your input and your involvement, this project would not have come to fruition, and I really believe that. So thank you so much for your tireless efforts and for believing that we can actually get this work done. I also want to thank someone who I know is looking from heaven on us today, and it's a member of this community that was incredibly instrumental on every single project that I ever worked on in Sun Valley. He touched every single project and made sure that I listened to his ideas and took the community into consideration. We often worked alongside each other, making sure that these projects actually worked for all of us. And that is my good friend, Michael Guerra. He cannot be with us here today, but I know he's smiling from heaven, along with all of our friends who helped him to ensure that we are bettering this community and that this project would become a priority. Mike, thank you so much. I miss you every day, and I think about you as we continue to work on your legacy to improve the community of Sun Valley. And with that, I'm so proud that in a little while we'll be able to take a walk and actually get to experience what the trails look like after we do our cutting ribbon ceremony. But at this time, I would like to introduce a good friend of mine, a woman that has certainly had my back since she's been the president of the DWP Commission. She's a friend of our community, and she fights for the same things that we believe in, which is justice and making sure that these communities are prioritized at every single level and every policy that's introduced at DWP. And that's my good friend, the president of the board, Cynthia McLean Hill.
I want to thank the council president for her continued support on important projects and initiatives like this one that benefit not only the San Fernando Valley, but all of Los Angeles, and say good morning and welcome everyone. Thank you for the community, or thank you to the community for coming out this morning and joining us as we commemorate the completion of the Tujunga Spreading Grounds Enhancement Project and celebrate the long-awaited opening of the community recreation area. Your patience and understanding throughout the long construction phase is very much appreciated, and we hope you enjoy this wonderful open space for many years to come. So what is it that we're celebrating today? As the council president said, it is twofold. It's a celebration of the incredible work that was done here to increase stormwater capture capacity, which helps Los Angeles become more resilient and able to rely on our local water supply instead of purchased imported water. It's also a celebration of what this project means to the quality of life of those who live and work nearby. During this historic drought, we want all of our customers, the residents all over this city, to know that we're taking action locally to expand our local drinking water supplies and capture more rainfall to store in our local aquifer. This project diverts water that would otherwise flow to the ocean and allows us to capture it and use it for our customers. However, during the early outreach meetings, and certainly at the behest of our council president, it became clear to our project team that through collaboration with this community, that we could come up with a much better plan and project design, one that didn't involve noisy gas-powered vehicles. The end result has been a quiet, emission-free electric conveyor system that was used to transport soils off-site. The conveyor system efficiently moved the soils without the use of trucks, which reduced traffic, air, and noise impacts in your community. And that is what you deserve. And we are happy to have been able to achieve that. In driving past this area over the last several years, I'm sure many of you saw a lot of activity. But here's what that activity gave us. Double the groundwater recharge capacity, delivering over or on average 5 billion gallons of water annually. As the council president pointed out, that's enough supply. That's enough to supply approximately 64,000 homes every year. This means reduced dependence on purchased imported water and a stronger local water supply. Now I'm going to be followed by our general manager, and he's going to talk all about the water and the technical stuff, and I'm going to leave that to him because he's a whole lot better at it. But what this also did was it also produced a beautiful outdoor open facility, open to the community, with classrooms and with walking paths. They're almost 3 miles for this community to enjoy. The passive recreation area that we're standing on right now, that includes the classrooms and picnic tables and educational displays, lighting, new fencing, California-friendly landscaping with 180 new trees and over 1,000 new plants, it's only here because of you and because of your leadership and your work with this department, and we want to say thank you. There's also a permeable pavement in the parking lot and right here at the hydration station. The lighting and the irrigation systems are also powered by solar panels, so the Tujunga Spreading Ground property is completely off the grid. What we have today is a beautiful open space that belongs to the residents of the Northeast Valley and to all Angelenos. Thank you for coming out today, and don't forget to grab one of those refill water bottles. Stay cool while you're walking through your beautiful new park. And while it's not in my script, I just want to say that in talking to a few members of our team, Marty, there are folks at the department that think that we can do even better here. So over the next few months, we're going to be assessing how we can do better. It's a really hot day, not a lot of shade out here. Thinking about shade structures that we might be able to bring to this facility as well in order to further enhance the community experience. So look forward to that as well, and thank you. I'm just so used to everybody knowing our general manager that I forgot to introduce him. So let me now welcome to the mic the general manager, chief engineer of the Department of Water and Power, Mr. Marty Adams.
Thank you very much. It's great to see everybody here today to celebrate something that's been worked on for a number of years by the department. And as the council president and our board president said, they talked about this project and what it means to the water supply. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about how it actually works and what we've done here. And so I've spent a lot of years of my career on projects here, improving the use of the spreading grounds. But this is the first time we've had a project that actually gained us stormwater capacity and open it to the public. And so this is one of the things that was really important for us, was how to make this site that looked like just a kind of a barren oasis for many decades, how we converted it into something that was truly useful and usable by the community. So the Tujunga Spreading Grounds has been here, I want to say since the 40s or 50s, and it's been one of the very few spreading grounds that we've had to collect stormwater. And early on, there was a dam placed on the Tujunga Wash. It's actually over by that power tower. It's a rubber dam, an inflatable rubber dam. Inflatable rubber dams were actually an invention of an early water and power engineer, and they're now used around the world, where you have to be able to retain the capacity of a storm channel, but you can inflate that dam to impound water behind it when it's not a storm and divert that water for use. And so very early on in our history, we put a rubber dam on this channel here and diverted water into the Tujunga Spreading Grounds. And so with this project, we've not only improved and replaced that dam, we also added a second dam right on the Pacoima Wash, right where they come together at the south end of the site, to collect water from the Pacoima Wash watershed. So water from Big Tujunga Dam to Pacoima Dam are able to be released slowly after the storms down the channels and caught in this spreading grounds, as well as another one upstream on Pacoima. So this is hugely important to the water supply future of Los Angeles. As you know, we passed Measure W, which helped us to look at stormwater projects, but there are only a few large projects that catch massive quantities of water, and this is one of them. And so by doubling the instantaneous capacity of water, by putting twice the capacity by deeper and bigger basins. We can get more of that storm flow into here. And then what that water does, I was asked earlier how this works. So underneath us, as the council president said, is a vast reservoir. This part of the San Fernando Valley is full of gravels and sands with a lot of space in between, and that space is full of water. And it's a massive underground lake that we're standing on top of. And so when we divert storm water, it seeps through these soils, almost like a coffee filter, and seeps down and recharges that groundwater basin. And that groundwater is important for the future of Los Angeles. And so what we have going on, we have wells all throughout the San Fernando Valley, particularly on the east side, over 100 wells that pump that groundwater and becomes part of our water supply. Coupled with that, we have groundwater treatment projects. And so there's a project on Tujunga, you might see next to the freeway. Over here, there's an existing project of well fields and a small wellhead treatment facility and a new facility being constructed to, again, continue to clean up the groundwater so that when we find contamination from the past, we can clean that up to make this groundwater basin fully usable again. This is one of the most critical components for the city's future water supply, is to be able to catch the water that falls in the San Fernando Valley, falls in the surrounding mountains, catch it, put it under our feet, get it stored underground where we know it's safe and secure. It's also secure from drought, it's secure from earthquake, and we have it right here in our own possession and be able to pull that water out and clean it up and serve it as clean, pure drinking water. And so it's great to be here today to celebrate the construction of this project, but more importantly is the fact that now we've changed that boundary between department and community. We've said the community needs to enjoy this property. It needs to be able to be out here to understand what's going on with our water supply and really have this facility be an amenity. So as our board president, Cynthia said, we have opened up all sorts of pathways, both inside here and around the other basins. And so this is about a 150-acre property. It's this basin, diversion structure above the freeway next to the 5. And then on the other side of the Hollywood freeway, there's large basins. And we have improved the walking paths around those so that it's true amenity for the public to enjoy the area. And so we're really proud of this project, proud of what it's done for the future of the water supply in the city, proud of what it means for the community here, and the fact that we've been here as a huge physical presence for decades, but we're finally becoming a better neighbor and trying to allow this property, which is a huge public of importance publicly, but to have it be a real public amenity. And as our board president said, to continue to improve that, to make it more and more inviting so people can come here and enjoy this important public space. I do want to thank all the folks from Water and Power who worked so hard on this project over the years. And I also have here Anselmo Collins, our head of the water system, who's been just finishing almost his first year on the job. Deputy John in charge of water resources, Andy Leonard, who heads up operations, but prior to that, he was in charge of our engineering group that got this project completed. So it's their team and a lot of folks out here that have worked on this project, that have put their heart and soul into it, and commitment to the community to make sure that what you see on the surface is as important to the community as what you don't see underground is as important to the city. So I want to thank you for joining us here today. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Keith from LA County.
So again, Los Angeles County's vision for the region's water resources are that they are safe, clean, and reliable for all. And this project brings us one step closer to achieving that vision for the millions of Angelenos that rely on groundwater as a source of their local water supply. Los Angeles County captures and conserves, on average, about 200,000 acre-feet of stormwater in facilities much like the one we're celebrating today. I want to recognize that we had about $3 million in funding from the Prop 84 through the Greater Los Angeles County Integrated Water Management Program and $7 million from the state stormwater grant program that help meet the improvements that have been discussed before, that double the capacity, that double the intake capacity. It's really important because as we look at our climate models, while we have a lot of years of drought and dry conditions, that we may not necessarily need those improvements to capture all the water that's available, but they show that in what we're expected to see are more intense storms, higher runoff, and with this project, we're now able to capture and conserve that water that would otherwise be lost to the ocean. And again, doubling the amount of water that's captured here. I want to state that the county was very proud to partner on this project with the City of Los Angeles, Department of Water and Power, and on the numerous other projects that we partner with them on to capture and conserve stormwater and for water quality projects throughout the county and in the City of Los Angeles. I also want to thank the community for their patience and cooperation in dealing with the long construction process. And I hope that all the measures that are made, that they recognize the efforts we made to try and accommodate the community, and it results in a fantastic project. So thank you all.